No tax-free for college.
Let's send you out to the Toyota Classic and Jay Randolph and Earl Anthony.
It was an early call for John Mazza this morning. The Michigan native qualified first. The question before the house, can he become the first four-time winner on the PBA Tour this year? Hoping to derail Mazza's title hopes, Joe Firpo. He's got the number 2 spot and makes the TV finals for the 3rd time in 1991. Then there is Richard Wolfe from Arlington, Virginia, at age 24, looking for his first tour win. He was 3rd in the U.S. Open earlier this year. 33-year-old veteran from Texas, Mark Williams, has qualified 4th. He has 6 wins. He hasn't won since the '88 Firestone. Danny Wiseman, only on tour for a year and a half, one of the bright young stars. He's already won 3 times. That's the final 5 as the fall tour gets underway. City of St. Louis, the famous Gateway Arch. Welcoming the PBA Tour this week, there is the Bowling Hall of Fame in downtown St. Louis. And we're on hand at the Tropicana Lanes in Richmond Heights, Missouri for the $150,000 Toyota Classic. Happy to have you with us. And hello, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. And today, we have a very talented gentleman up on top and 4 fellas who are trying to get up there with him.
4 very talented bowlers trying to get up there with him, and it's great to be back with you too, Jay, on the fall tour. John Mazza has really blossomed into one of the tour's dominating players. He's our leader today. Any one of these 4 players are going to beat him. They're going to have to beat somebody that has a tremendous amount of confidence. This is a chance for John Mazza to take command in the Bowler of the Year race. There's only 3 tournaments to go. Anything can happen with some very talented players also in that field, like Norm Duke has a chance to be Bowler of the Year, people like that, but John Mazza can take command with a win today.
An early start for the fall tour on NBC this year. We're going to take a break and be back in November. What about the conditions of these lanes?
Lane condition is not conducive to real high scores. The pin carry is excellent. It's difficult to get the ball in the pocket at sometimes. Some of the players will be playing extreme angles, 4th, 5th arrow, left-handers. Some will be playing right on the edge, tilting the twig, they call it. We might see a couple balls go in the channel. You never know what can happen when the greatest bowlers in the world perform, but any time, at any given moment, you might see a ball go in the channel on a strike ball.
$27,000 first prize, and in the first match this afternoon, the talented Texan, Mark Williams, going up against Danny Wiseman. Danny Wiseman, the right-hander, has a great television record. 8-1 on TV, this young man. Nice way to begin.
Nice way to start the fall tour, Jay. First ball's a strike. And as we talked about just a few minutes ago, watch the angle. You saw where Danny Wiseman's playing outside the first arrow. Watch Mark Williams. You thought that was near the channel. Watch this guy.
Well, that's what you call living on the edge and getting the job done. They open with strikes.
Now here's a good look at the angle Mark Williams is playing. Watch how near the channel the ball gets. Right on the edge, and he'll get it farther out than that, Jay. He'll get some of them that, as I mentioned earlier, that actually tilt before they come back to the pocket, and some may not.
And the 10-pin won't go down. This is Mark's 2nd championship round appearance of the year. He was top-seeded at the Kessler out in California and lost the title match to Brian Goebel. 27 career championship round appearances.
And Mark switches balls, goes to a ball that doesn't look straight across the lane. That's the way to do it. Easy spare for Mark Williams. Danny Wiseman is more of a down and in player. He'll get the ball going down the lane on a line and then bring it on the back. Good rotation, real heavy roll on the ball. Whereas Mark Williams tends to turn the ball, get more side rotation. Danny rolls it more forward, end over end.
And he's had great success, only played the tour regularly for about a year and a half. Came up just a little bit short, and he's left the 2-4.
The way the lanes have been dressed, the PBA lanemen used a spray gun this week. They oiled 35 feet and then buffed another 10 feet. So there's actually oil on the lane. The dressing goes down 45 feet. So that's the reason you'll see some of the players playing extreme angles, either way out near the edge of the lane or way in, fourth, fifth arrow. The idea is, how much do I want to hook the ball?
You mentioned the lane dressing. I'm reminded that later in the broadcast, Beyond the Foul Line with Earl Anthony, we'll talk about dressing the lanes on the fall tour this year, and I know our viewers will be interested in that. That's coming up a little later on. Wiseman, 24 years old. He had a 300 game in the Columbia 300 Open in Austin, Texas earlier this year. There they go.
You can see them flirting with that channel. That's really close. That ball almost tilted before it came back to the pocket. Watch the ball at about the 45-foot mark. Right there. That's living dangerously.
Gotta hurry. And Williams leaving a 2-7.
Not a difficult spare for a right-hander. He'll be hooking the ball into the spare, so he shouldn't have much problem covering this. Obviously, he has to hit both. He wants to hit both pins with the ball. He'll try to get the ball to fit between the two pins. Just like that. Spare shooting has been very important this week. The scores haven't been that high. John Mazza averaged around 221 to lead the tournament. It took about a 217 average to make the top 5, 205 average to cash this week, and a 211 average to make the top 24.
And it got there in fine fashion. This opening match going well between Wiseman and Williams.
NBC Sports coverage of the PBA Fall Tour is brought to you by Toyota and the all-new totally redesigned Camry. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By AMF and the AMF Sumo. Flat out, more power than you've ever seen in a bowling center. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud.
If the world's auto manufacturers were only allowed to build one car to satisfy the needs of all car buyers everywhere, the Toyota Camry would be the logical choice. Motor Trend, 1987. Even before this quote was written, Toyota was at work designing an even better Camry. And now, it's here. The all-new 1992 Camry from Toyota. Roomier. Quieter. More powerful. Safer. And even more beautiful. The all-new Camry from Toyota. We just couldn't leave well enough alone.
The Broncos. The Oilers. Stand by mission control. Sunday. Tino DeFranco, Ray Bluth, and Vern Santons, the men who make the Tropicana Lanes really tick here. Bluth, of course, the Hall of Famer, right in the middle. Now Mark Williams on lane 44 in the 5th frame. And he leaves a 10-pin after striking in the 4th. Wiseman, a spare in the 4th and a strike in the 5th. A very even match in the early going.
Neither player seems able to take command, although they're both rolling the ball well, keeping it in the pocket, keeping it in play. Can't seem to get a double. Something kind of interesting, Jay, that a lot of people around the country have asked me in the past. We know that amateurs bowl in some of the PBA events. How do they get in there, and how do they score when they go up against the pros on PBA lane conditions? You can see what happens on a golf course. You can see what the player has to do. On the lanes that we bowl on, you can't tell where the dressing is. But to give you an idea, there's another 10-pin for Mark Williams. To give you an idea, there were 5 amateurs that qualified to bowl in this field this week. Their averages coming in were 215 to 228. Their combined average for the qualifying rounds was 172. So you can see the PBA lane condition is much more difficult than the average house condition, and that's gives a little more credibility to the idea these guys are averaging 217 to 218 to lead a tournament. That doesn't sound like a high average, but on PBA conditions, it's very good bowling.
That's the big time.
That's the big time.
Danny Wiseman with that determined look on his face. Smooth as silk, and we'll take a look at this young man who has doubled now in the 5th and 6th. Baltimore, Maryland is home, and he is a very talented young bowler.
And this is a great shot. Look at the angle. You see him from the side and from back. Now watch the ball go straight back and through. This creates the leverage he wants, and straight down the lane with the shot. Look at the balance, the long follow through. That is how it should be done. Perfect fundamentals, and obviously the good result. Stayed down through the shot. You saw the shoulders over the knee. It was great. Tough player to beat here. He's good in the clutch.
And down they go. Danny picked up title number 3 in his last appearance at the Seattle Open. We'll be back with more as Wiseman is up on top by 23.
Sumo, flat out, more power than you've ever seen in a bowling center.
This is an exciting moment.
Some said it couldn't be done.
We can see it now.
How did they do it?
And while all the others only talked about it,
I'm so happy they did it.
we did it. Introducing the 1992 Toyota Previa. Now the only van that meets all passenger car federal motor vehicle safety standards. Because when it comes to safety, we didn't let anything stop us.
Mark Williams down 23. He was 13th after the 5th round and moved into the number 4 spot here at Tropicana Lanes with a splendid performance last night.
Well, no problem.
No problem. He got a big break there. And what he did, what Mark did, he just really didn't trust that ball. It looked like he was trying to fit it, trying to be perfect, and he set it down early, and the ball just, when you set it down early, it tends to hook early. Crossed the head pin, got a big break. That could get him started. Being down 23 pins, getting late in the match. This is 8th frame. It's do or die time for Mark Williams.
He's got a possible 237. And that crossover in the 7th may have given him some confidence.
It might have. The lanes here, the championship pair at Tropicana Lanes, 43 and 44. 44 being the more difficult of the 2 lanes. 43, when you're playing the outside angle, you can trust the ball more. It'll come back. In other words, you have more swing area. 44, as you watch Danny Wiseman prepare to bowl, you have to go straighter. You can't get the ball out as wide.
A little too high.
Wiseman will lead the PBA's TV win percentage in the National Tour Championship rounds. he should lose this first game, he would be 8-2.
Here's a look at that last shot, and he did basically what Mark Williams did on the previous shot when he crossed over. Danny didn't quite make the same amount of a mistake, but it definitely was an error. Getting the ball down early, not trusting it because they feel it won't come back on lane 44 as much as it will on 43.
Going for the 3, 6, 9, and 10.
Difficult spare here. See the ball take out the 9. That's the way to do it. You see the deep breath by Danny Wiseman there. It's kind of a sigh of relief.
Well, he's only 24 years old, but as we watch the pin action of Wiseman, he has a veteran's attitude.
He does. He's very cool in the clutch, as evidenced by the television record that you quoted there, Jay. He's a chance here to go all the way, which he did in his last tournament to win. And it's tough to beat 4 professionals that are bowling as well as these guys are to make the telecast.
That came up a little short, but we almost got a tremendous break there.
And you can see the difference. The angle the ball is taking down the lane. As I mentioned, 43 tends to hook more from the outside angle, so they're trusting it. They're getting it farther out. 44 is a little more scary for them. If they make any kind of a mistake, the ball goes high or it doesn't hook back.
Wiseman up 8 after that light hit, leaving the 2-pin.
And how quickly the fortunes change in one-game matches. Wiseman looked like he was going to run away with it. He was on 3 in a row. That crossover hit for Mark Williams here on lane 44 in the 7th frame. He struck in the 8th, a chance to take the lead with a strike here in the 9th. A little more room. And it doesn't get back. Again, 44 being the more difficult of the two. He trusted that shot after crossing over last time. Got away with that big Brooklyn hit, Jay, and this time he trusted, didn't quite get it back. And here's a look at Mark Williams, that great shot that our NBC crew gives us. You can see the leverage through the shot, the good reach on that ball. He rolled it exactly the way he wanted to. It just didn't finish for him. That was the best shot Mark Williams has made on lane 44, but he didn't get the ball reaction he wanted.
Williams with the possible 237. Or now with possible 216, I should say, and Wiseman a possible 225.
We have an opportunity for a tie here. If Mark Williams should get the first 2 strikes and 9, he would have 215. Danny Wiseman going at a 215 pace.
Looking good there.
Again, lane 43, the lane that Mark Williams chose to finish on, and for this reason, you can see he can trust the ball, it'll roll back for him. The 10th frame, the player higher in the standings, as you all know, has the opportunity to choose which lane he'll finish on. Mark Williams chose 43 because he knew he could get the strike in the clutch. He could trust the ball here as he gets a re-rack. This is the big shot for him. He has to have this one.
And you see how Mark did against Danny Wiseman. Williams averaged 172.5 on the TV pair. Wiseman 216.5. You can throw all those stats out the window right now. Williams leaving the 610.
Very important that he make this spare. For his score would be 206. And as I mentioned, Danny Wiseman going at a 215 pace needs to get a mark. Some kind of either a spare or a strike in the 10th frame to win the match. If he should get 9 and miss it, he would have 204 or 203, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's why it was important that he pick up those 2 pins.
So it comes down to the fact that Wiseman needs to mark.
He needs to mark to win. A little more speed on that shot. Did the job.
And Danny Wiseman gets the job done. Starting in the number 5 position, he just did get in as Marshall Holman had a tough position round last night and lost the opportunity to be in these finals by 2 pins.
And here, Danny Wiseman only needs 2 pins in 2 balls to win the match.
There's his wife, Lisa.
And you can see him move in to the inside angle. He didn't want to flirt with that channel on an important shot.
So Danny Wiseman, in search of his 4th PBA title, has the victory here over Mark Williams in Game 1 of this $150,000 Toyota Classic. We're in Richmond Heights, Missouri, right on the edge of Clayton, which is the county seat of St. Louis. And, of course, it's one of the tremendous bowling cities in all of America, the home of the PBA for many, many years. Many of the stars have lived here, and, of course, the Bowling Hall of Fame and Museum in downtown St. Louis that we showed you at the top of the show. Coming up in match 2, Danny Wiseman and Richard Wolfe. Two fellows who kind of came out of the same stable.
Walk on target.
The Brunswick Phantom. Bowling's first ball with a built-in guidance system. Programmable to your game. Phantom's Stealth Core system works like onboard intelligence to give you unbelievable consistency and reaction predictability every time you strike. Get a Phantom. It's the guidance system for your game.
You know, if you pay as much attention to your jump shot as you do trying to impress women.
Oh, it's just this new shampoo. My hair comes out looking really good.
Shampoo?
Yeah, it's got a conditioner in it, right in the bottle.
Talked about this before.
What?
Look, all the conditioner in the world doesn't mean a thing. The minute your dandruff shows up.
Ah, fear not, paranoid one.
For the first time ever, the world's leading dandruff shampoo comes complete with full-body conditioners. Introducing Head & Shoulders 2-in-1, making all your first impressions all the more impressive.
Top-of-the-line parts.
Red, blue, and white.
Expert advice.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Auto Parts store.
Keeps your car running right.
Where the pros go for auto parts.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
Welcome back to the Toyota Classic, as we always like to do here on NBC's coverage of the Fall Tour, bring you up to date on our top 24 finishers. And here they are for this week. Gary Dickinson picking up a little cash.
Yeah, he's almost ready to go on the senior tour. He's getting old like me. There's some of the youngsters out there that are coming along very well. Stephen Hardy, one of the left-handers. It was a good week for the lefties.
Kelly Kaufman from Topeka, Kansas, picking up $2,200. David Ozio out of Ider, Texas.
He's in the Bowler of the Year race, Jay, along with Norm Duke, another one. And there's another lefty, Hugh Miller, very talented left-hander. Dave Husted from up there where I'm at. Dave Ferraro, a former Firestone champion. Mike Edwards, a great player, yet to win. Parker Bowen, another left-hander. So you can see the lefties did good this week. And Marshall Holman was in it to the last shot. Jay, he needed a strike to tie, got 9, and so Marshall didn't make our telecast.
Danny Wiseman, 215. Mark Williams, 206 in match 1. And now it is Wiseman on the right to go against Richard Wolfe. I mentioned both these fellows kind of from the same stable. They're from the Baltimore, Washington, Arlington, Alexandria area.
Same sponsor, so he's having a good week.
Wiseman gets it underway on 43, and he is a little high.
That's the lane that he has to trust the ball. If you remember, on lane 43, you can send it, it'll hook back. Not a good shot for Danny to started with here. He set it early, it went, and obviously it'll hook early.
288 the high game for Wiseman this week. And here's our first look at the action of Richard Wolfe from Arlington, Virginia. He is 5 months younger than Wiseman. Both are age 24. High game of 299 this week.
And watch the angle he'll be playing. This is a left-hander playing close to the 4th arrow. A lot of wrist rotation in the ball. Kind of a unique lane condition in that the left-handers, we have 2 left-handers in the top 5. Of course, our tournament leader, John Mazza. Here's a good look at the style of Richie Wolfe. You can see the angle he's playing right over the 4th arrow. Both left-handers playing in that vicinity of the lane, whereas the right-handers are playing the extreme outside angle near the channel, almost a reverse as you might normally see when you watch the Pro Tour.
This is Richard's second telecast of the year and the 3rd of his career. Mentioned he was third at the U.S. Open in Indianapolis. Second seeded in that event. Gets them all. Wolfe from Arlington, Virginia, 5 years on tour. He lost the U.S. Open to Pete Weber. Pete, of course, the defending champion here, not able to play, serving a 6-month suspension. That suspension will end in late October, and Pete will be available to join the fall tour, November 16th for the Brunswick Memorial World Open in Chicago. That was high again. 3-6 lead for Wiseman.
Danny really not projecting the ball as well as he did when he bowled Mark Williams. Again, you see the ball's a little bit early off his hand. He's not getting it down the lane quite as well, as firmly as he did in, say, the 10th frame when he had to make a good shot to win the match. That was a very good shot. His first 2 balls in this match, not what he's capable of doing.
Earl, these are synthetic lanes. Coming up, of course, your Beyond the Foul Line segment talks about dressing the lanes. And one of the items that we like to mention, because sometimes the folks at home forget, under the glare of these television lights, the lanes do break down and change drastically over the period of the telecast.
They will. You're right, Jay. And, of course, the synthetics much quicker, or the oil moves much more readily than on a wooden surface. So the players have to make adjustments to that as they go. And they're very capable of doing that. There you see Danny Wiseman. He made an adjustment, got more ball speed, forced the ball down the lane so it couldn't hook early. And that's probably the best move he can make. He cannot move out of the area he's playing in. The lane condition won't let him do that. You have to play where the lanes will let you play.
Wiseman and Wolfe, very good friends, being from the same part of the country, the Mid-Atlantic area.
This young man throws the ball, you'll hear the audience going, juice, juice, juice. He gets so much rotation. Very powerful release.
Boy, did he scramble those.
You can hear in the background the crowd. Very lively crowd here in a great bowling town, St. Louis. They know what's going on out there. They know this young man has tremendous talent. And he can make things happen with that bowling ball. Throws the ball extremely hard, gets tremendous rotation. And the pins, as you said, Jay, just explode.
Wolfe up by 13. This is his best year on tour. He's won more than $24,000 already. And a 6-pin.
And the left-hander having the same difficulty the right-handers are having. Lane 43 tends to hook more. As you can see, Richie Wolfe has been high twice on lane 43. The ball hooking just a little bit more than it is on 44. He's well lined up on 44, having trouble keeping the ball from going through the middle of the head pin on lane 43.
And the spare for Wolfe. He has the early lead here in match 2, and we'll be back with more at the Toyota Classic right after this.
With a 2,510-pound payload, a 5,000-pound towing capacity, and a powerful V6 engine, the 1992 Toyota 1-ton pickup might just surprise you.
Flat out, more power than you've ever seen in a bowling center.
John Elway and the Broncos. They've gone from rock bottom to a Rocky Mountain high. O.J. Simpson examines their successful turnaround. Sunday on NFL Live.
Richard Wolfe out of Arlington, Virginia. A strike in the 5th. Bowling on lane 43.
Interesting adjustment there, Jay. A double there by Richie Wolfe. The adjustment he made on lane 43, he could either throw the ball harder or he could open up the lane more, give it more room. Here's a replay of that shot. As you see, he's moved deeper, giving the ball more room. He's playing around 23, 24 board on the lane. He's capable of making the ball hit from anywhere. Danny Wiseman, while we were away, got a double, going for 3 in a row here in the 6th frame.
Wiseman, another strike.
I keep making that mistake with the pronunciation of his name. It's Wiseman.
That's the way he likes
Wiseman.
Well, I can remember when it was Tony Dorsett and then Dorsett, remember?
Uh-huh.
But he does like to be called Wiseman.
And we definitely have a match here. 2 pins separating these two very talented young players.
That is 4 in a row for Danny Wiseman, bouncing around here. We'll take a timeout. Now this from your local station.
Tonight, Sophia's new nurse is an old friend.
I don't think that she'll remember me.
All new Golden Girls. Then the kids just love Mama Torkelson's new boyfriend.
You're right.
And her husband's away, but Laverne wants to play.
Okay, if I give you a call.
All new Empty Nest. Plus a surprise wedding on an all-new Nurses on NBC tonight.
Have you seen what's new for 92?
Have you?
Your Quality Plus Ford dealer has more that's new for 92. Have you seen the new 92 Ford Escort?
Have you?
A style all its own and a quality that challenges any small car in the world. With added features in a small car you wouldn't expect at any price. Have you wanted a new car that's more than just small?
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Bank on big Escort savings at your Quality Plus Ford dealer now.
Just a reminder, Stanley Steamer uses a deep cleaning system that removes ground-in dirt from your carpet. So drop everything and call now.
Call Stanley Steamer now. Any 3 rooms, $69. Stairs and hallway free.
Every night, I put my body on the line. Now, it's your turn.
Get on the line and get your season tickets today.
An exclusive look at Liz, Larry, and the Fortensky affair.
Monday at 5 on KYW3.
Let's take a look at this last shot and then the pirouette performance of Danny Wiseman.
This is to take the lead in the match. And you can see he got the shaker off the wall. Watch his reaction.
Looks like a young Nureyev.
Should be on stage with that.
And a little problem for Richard Wolfe, who leaves the 3-5 over on 44 as we're in the 7th frame in this match.
And as so often happens, remember, he finally got lined up on 43. Made a move deeper into the lane, more inside to give the ball more room. Now he's lost lane 44, especially after waiting through the commercial break. I'm sure a lot of things going through his mind. He hasn't done that well, considering his talent.
And there is a big mistake right there. I know you were talking with him last night, and his great desire, and he is talented, is to break through and win a title. And you get the feeling if and when he does that, he's going to really be tough.
He is. His talent is second to none on the left side. He's one of the best left-handers as far as release goes out here. His problem is lack of experience and confidence in his own ability. Once he gains that, he'll be tough to beat.
Well, that's a big help for him right there. He needed that strike here in the 8th frame. Wiseman has 4 in a row. Danny Wiseman, who just had his 24th birthday back on September the 24th.
Got to hurry. Oh, my. Look at this. Has he got it going now, Jay? He's really stroking the ball smoothly. He's very comfortable and confident. This man is tough to beat when he's got it going like this.
He was 64th after the 1st round, 16th after the 4th, 11th after the 5th, and made the big jump with a little help from Marshall Holman last night to get into this championship round, the stepladder finals here in Richmond Heights, Missouri at the Tropicana Lanes. And there's a pin in the channel on 43.
The American Bowling Congress rules, which the PBA also abide by. You cannot bowl with a pin in the channel. It's dead wood. It has to be out of there before you throw the ball, or it doesn't count.
And he was high with that one and left a 6-pin here in the ninth. A little bit of a crossover.
A little break in his concentration there as he waited for that pin to be cleared, and as soon as he let go of the ball, you could hear him saying, no, no, no. He knew he'd made a mistake. Actually, he's fortunate to get an easy spare out of this. Still leading the match by 31 pins.
A possible 246. Wolfe, a possible 235. Well, right now, Wiseman is in the driver's seat over Richard Wolfe. 31 pins.
This is the key shot right here. Very obviously, it's coming in the ninth frame. The toughest lane for him is 44. He has to strike here to have any chance at all. Got it. The little love tap on the 7-pin. What a great break for Richie Wolfe. You can hear the crowd in the background. They're really pumped up. When they watch this young man bowl, you can hear him yelling, juice, juice. And that's because of all that rotation, all that hitting power he gets on the bowling ball. Watch the pin jump out of the channel. You can see it. It's the 4-pin. It falls on the 7. Just enough. Great break at this point in the match. That was a must strike. 2 here to make Danny Wiseman mark. He needs 2 strikes in the 10th. Hit him thin and watch him spin, Jay, as Billy Whaley used to say. And there it was. He's playing that extreme inside angle inside the 4th arrow. Tremendous rotation, making the pins dance. This one to put him in the 230 category. Again, a chance for a tie match. He should strike all the way out, 235. Danny Wiseman going at a 236 pace. With the spare, a score of 224. And here's a replay of that last shot, and you can see him running it out. He thought he had a chance for the strike. The mixer again didn't quite get it. Danny Wiseman with any kind of a mark, again, as he was against Mark Williams, needing a mark in the 10th, made a great shot. Needs any kind of a mark here to win the second match. Look out. Very tentative, Jay.
Yeah, it was a little tentative, and
he didn't trust that ball at all. It was almost like he wasn't sure of the ball reaction. Not his normal way of playing in a crucial situation. Normally he goes out there and attacks. That one was.
If he would miss this pin, and it doesn't figure that he would, we'd have a tie.
We definitely would. He has to make this to win the match. I think that'll do it.
Yes, indeed.
Now, keep it on the lane, and he's a winner regardless, but now you'll watch, he'll do it again. He'll move inside on this shot, just to keep the ball in the lane, stay out of trouble. When you're playing that extreme outside angle, and you just need a few pins, you don't want to gamble with that channel. And you always wonder when they do that, why don't they play there all the time, right, Jay?
Danny Wiseman has won the first 2 matches. 235, 224 over Richard Wolfe here. He'll be going up against Joe Firpo when we come back.
Shine a light on you. Shine
want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. Everything else is just right. Just keep your Bud Light shining. Everything else is just right. You got to shine on. Everything else is just right.
I remember it well. I just come out of some of the most rugged country of Utah when I turned 200,000 miles on my truck.
I was way back in the woods. It's rugged. It's at the base of Chestnut Mountain. A lot of people won't go there, but it's a special place to me.
I pulled over the side of the road, showed a sign saying 200,000 miles. Is that cool or what?
Where were you when your Toyota truck hit 100, 200, or 300,000 miles? Call us and tell us your story.
The only truck I'll ever own will be a Toyota. I'll tell you that much right now.
Lock on target.
The Brunswick Phantom. Bowling's first ball with a built-in guidance system. Programmable to your game. Phantom's stealth core system works like onboard intelligence to give you unbelievable consistency and reaction predictability every time you strike. Get a Phantom. It's the guidance system for your game.
Notre Dame quarterback Rick Meyer has put excitement back in the Irish attack. Next Saturday, the explosive Fighting Irish host quarterback sensation Alex Van Pelt and the Pittsburgh Panthers. It's Meyer versus Van Pelt. Irish pride and the Panthers. Notre Dame football is home on NBC. Time now for Beyond the Foul Line with Earl Anthony. Brought to you by the American Bowling Congress.
Each week during NBC's fall tour, we'll be offering you some advice with PBA champion and American Bowling Congress ambassador Mike Albee.
Thanks, Earl. It's always great to start a new season and also to be here with you.
And it's exciting, especially for all us league bowlers. And Mike, I know you bowl league in Indianapolis, and there must be something you can do to give us a tip on how to raise our averages. Something different, maybe?
Well, lane conditions are going to be a little bit different this year. Over the last couple seasons, there's been 2 lane conditioning rules. This is going to change now because now the American Bowling Congress has adopted 1 rule for lane conditioning. This will add a little bit more lane conditioner to the outside part of the lane.
The dry area where everything hooks so much we couldn't control the ball, that's going to be gone now? Or?
Now there'll be a little more lane condition on that dry area, so the ball's going to react much more even. It's not going to dive through the head pin and leave those splits now.
Okay, so it's going to go longer before it grips the lane. It's going to skid farther.
Right, the ball will go much longer and react more smoothly also.
Don't have to throw it as hard. Especially us seniors, the over-the-hill gang, we don't have to throw it and go down to lighter balls. Maybe we can go back to a heavier ball again.
Exactly. Plus, it's good for the kids and for all of us because, like we said, the ball will react much smoothly, much more even, and we don't have to muscle it.
Okay, what about spare shooting? Now, we're going to go across that dressing in the middle of the lane. If there's going to be more on the outside, what's it going to do for the 7-pin or the 10-pin when you got to leave that corner pin, you got to pick up that spare?
Same thing as your strike ball. Same even spares, should pick up more, should raise our average.
So our scores are going to go up. We're going to get more strikes. We're going to make our spares. That's fantastic. Now let's put that information to use. And the best place is by joining an organized league at your local bowling center. For information on how you can become a better bowler, contact the American Bowling Congress.
Danny Wiseman defeating Richard Wolfe, 235 to 224. Has moved into the 3rd match. On the left there, Joe Firpo, who led this tournament after the 2nd round, after the 3rd round, and after the 4th round. Wiseman trying to go all the way from number 5 to the top. A little high, and he leaves the 6.
Just exactly the way he started his match against Richie Wolfe. Still a little tentative going and getting out of the gate. Remember, the left lane hooks more than the right lane. Lane 43 hooking more than 44. And again, the player that finishes higher in the top 5 going on to the telecast has his choice of finishing lanes and starting lanes. Firpo has decided he wants to finish on 43. That's the easiest lane to strike on.
Wiseman, Earl, now has a TV record of 10-1.
I wonder who beat him and how they did it. I know who it was. I believe it was Del Ballard.
I think you're right. Joe Firpo out of Lake Worth, Florida, 26 years old. And he got him to go.
Got a good break. Start the match. Lane 44 now. Let's see what he does on 43. Remember, 44 doesn't hook as much. Here's a look at the style. Watch him get the ball a little bit behind him. Creates a little more leverage. Throws the ball a little softer as far as speed is concerned than the other players. Much in the style of Mark Williams. It's a lot of rotation, a very heavy roll. If he hits light in the pocket, he'll really make the pins fly. They really dance. Very hard-hitting rotation on the bowling ball.
And a very consistent performance here this week at the Tropicana Lanes by Firpo.
Here it goes, all the way out the back. Almost got it twice in a row. Same reaction.
And he's out of Lake Worth, Florida, as we mentioned. 8 years a member of the PBA. He was a little light with that last one and left the 2-pin.
A little more ball speed, straight at the spares. Again, the idea is to hit those pins. You don't have to throw a big, strong hook or anything to knock down a 1-pin spare. All you have to do is hit it, and you'll see the professionals throw the ball hard and straight at the 1-pin spares.
Joe's fiancée, Stephanie, on hand.
A little more speed, and it's still hooking.
And another crossover and a problem. Wiseman today averaged 225 in those first 2 matches with 12 strikes, 10 spares. He was not open, but he's facing a problem here with the 5-10.
And he's going to make an adjustment with the thumb hole of his bowling ball. He's getting ready to put a piece of tape in there. He evidently lost that ball off his hand. And after he shoots this spare, which he's switching balls to do, this kind of surprises me. Because this particular spare requires a good touch.
Just missed it, and that's his first open frame of the day.
And here's a look at, watch the ball. He barely misses this. This shows you that bowling is a matter of fractions of inches. It looked like it hit it almost, Jay.
Sure did.
All right. He's made the adjustment to the thumb hole. Let's see what he does with this shot. Time to time, a bowler's hand will either swell or go down in competition, and they make adjustments by putting tape in the thumb or taking some tape out if their hand should swell.
And he looks back and shakes his head as that 10-pin is standing down there. Danny was voted the Baltimore Bowler of the Year 2 consecutive seasons, through 86 and 87 and through 87 and 88. And after bowling on a short oil lane condition as an amateur, he is now, as we said earlier, in the big time here.
He had to make a lot of changes in his game, and that's what happens with a lot of good young players growing up on that short oil condition, learning to play on that when they come on the PBA Tour. We never, ever have short oil on the tour, and you have to make major adjustments in how you play the game.
As you look at the statistics on Joe Firpo, it's his 3rd championship round appearance of the year and the 7th of his career. Oh, the 10 is there. That looked very good going down. Career TV statistics, 4 and 5. High game of 299 this week for Firpo.
Watch how he shoots this spare. It'll be a good lesson, especially he'll go cross lane with a lot of ball speed and not hook it.
Generates a lot of speed.
Big, strong young man, somewhere around 6'1", 200 pounds, very strong, very talented. And he is just one of many of the good young players coming on the Pro Tour, good young athletes that can play this game, play any part of the lane, make the ball hit from any angle. The talent level is very high on the PBA Tour at this point.
And over there on 43 in the 4th frame, the 2-7 after the light hit.
Looked like he lost his balance a little on that one, Jay. He didn't have good leverage. Like he stuck or something at the foul line. Didn't get through that shot. It just kind of fell off his hand. He'll try to throw this one across lane, hook the ball into the 2-pin, have the ball take out both pins.
Well, a little problem for Firpo in the 4th after Wiseman had his first open in the 2nd. We'll be back with more right after these messages.
My great-grandfather was 15 when he left to seek his fortune in the Alaskan gold rush. His journals were our roadmap to adventure.
Today we crossed the Matanuska Pass, the most unforgiving country you ever laid eyes on. I've heard thunder on a clear day, seen ice that don't melt even in June, and a sun that never sets.
There are things more precious than gold, and from the look on their faces, I think we found it.
Toyota 4Runner. When it comes to adventure, no one goes as far as we do.
Sumo, flat out, more power than you've ever seen in a bowling center.
Coming up next, it's one race, one record, and possibly $1 million as the world's fastest milers go for it all in the $1 Million Mile. Then, the world's best triathletes attempt the grueling escape from Alcatraz, the world's most dangerous triathlon. Next on NBC Sports.
Coming up next, first we'll pump you up at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Bollard Building Classic, and then possibly $1 million at stake. The world's fastest milers going in the $1 Million Mile, and an incredible test of human endurance. Top triathletes attempt the grueling escape from Alcatraz. That's all coming up next right here on NBC. Joe Firpo going for a 4.67 lead, and he is open here in the fifth. So both Firpo and Wiseman struggling a little bit here.
Wiseman, as he has in his first two matches, making a comeback. He's on a double now in the fourth and fifth frames. He's struck. He's taking a pretty commanding lead, a little over 20 pins at this point in the match. Firpo has to get it going early, and this seems to be what's happened with all of Danny Wiseman's opponents. They've gotten in trouble early in the match, could never catch up.
Only the second strike of the match for Firpo here in the sixth, and now Wiseman, who has a 21-point advantage, 21-pin advantage, I should say.
Actually, point is correct.
Yeah, well, it is. It's okay, but most people say pins, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looks over,
and that's his reaction. At this point, you know, that on two in a row, he threw a great shot, and the only really true tap that players feel is a true tap is that solid 8 or solid 9, and in a one-game match, you can't afford to give those away.
Danny and his wife Lisa travel the tour stops in their big recreational vehicle. Fine young couple. Fair for Danny in the sixth. Lisa, gentleman right behind there, Bruce Plucon, the former curator of the Bowling Hall of Fame and Museum in downtown St. Louis.
And no, he is not taking a nap. He's looking at something in his hand.
He's got some notes in his hand there. And the 10-pin is standing.
Danny has made some great adjustments here. He's got the last 4 balls solid in the pocket, and they've all been because he's put some tape in the thumb hole. He's changed his ball speed and release. He's getting the ball well out of the lane now. It's not hooking early. That's what he's done as far as getting the ball in the pocket, Jay. He's made that good adjustment with ball speed and loft.
Danny Wiseman in the lead here in our third match of the $150,000 Toyota Classic. Now this from your local stations.
He was a legend on the field, but a bigger legend off the field.
That's why I'm a real American hero.
Loved by millions.
There's my girl.
But denied the love of his own daughter. What price did he pay? To become Babe Ruth, based on his own true story.
NBC Sunday.
A lot of men want to know more about Rogaine with minoxidil. If you're one of them, I have good news for you. Now there's a brochure prepared especially for men who want answers to their questions about Rogaine. Simply call 1-800-678-7977, and Upjohn will be glad to send it to you, absolutely free. Now, once you've looked at it, you'll probably want to schedule an appointment with a doctor. After all, only your doctor can prescribe Rogaine. And if you call right now, Upjohn will also send you the names of doctors in your area who can help you decide if Rogaine is right for you. You'll also receive a $10 certificate as an incentive to see your doctor. For your free brochure that gives you the complete story on Rogaine with minoxidil and your $10 certificate, call toll-free 1-800-678-7977. So what are you waiting for? Make the call today.
Senator Rob's claimed lover and wife speak out on the next evening magazine.
Now Joe Firpo, 7th frame, lane 44. He's high.
And he's made a tremendous move on the lanes. Remember, he was playing that extreme outside angle near the channel. He has moved into the center of the lane. Evidently, during the break there, he sat there and he thought, and he feels that he has to make a move if he's going to win this match. Interestingly enough, Jay, Joe Firpo has played this angle, the inside angle, all week. That's what got him here. During his practice before the telecast, he evidently felt that he had a better shot at playing around the first arrow, and now he's gone back to the original angle he played to get to this point in the tournament.
Wiseman up by 19.
You can see he's standing. He's playing on this lane. He's playing back out on near the edge of the lane. This is very unique. He must feel at lane 44 he just can't get a good ball reaction. Remember, 44 is the more difficult of the two lanes. 43 will hook back from the edge, even though that particular shot didn't. Joe Firpo very confused at this point. He's playing extreme outside angle on 43, playing the inside angle on 44. That's difficult to do.
Danny Wiseman defeated Mark Williams 215 to 206, and then put Richard Wolfe on the sight lines 235 to 224. Up by 20.
Still anybody's match with 2.5 frames to play here.
Big strike.
And again, the most important thing so far in this match that Danny Wiseman has done, I keep saying Wiseman, it's Wiseman, is he's gotten more speed on the ball, and he's got the ball farther out on the lane before it touches the surface. The sooner it touches the surface, the earlier it hooks. He's preventing that from happening by getting the ball well out in the lane. Good projection. That delays the hook. He's keeping it in the pocket area.
Came up a little short. Earl, this week the PBA announced effective January 1st of 92 that Mike Connor of Bridgestone Firestone Incorporated will become the new PBA commissioner for a 3-year term. Joe Antonora will serve the balance of the calendar year 92 as a full-time consultant. Mike Connor's been a friend of mine since way back in the late 60s, a wonderful gentleman from Akron, Ohio. We wish him well, and of course we wish Joe Antonora the best too. These two have really been fighting it here.
They have. They've been struggling. The lane condition, as I mentioned, is not an easy one, especially the television pair has been difficult for all the players, as you've quoted some of the averages, Jay. Joe Firpo moving around on the lane. He looks like he's back outside again on this lane. He's making some guesses, hoping something good happens.
And there it is. Yeah, something good happened, and it's about time.
It's still anyone's match. Danny Wiseman going at a 194 pace with 1 frame to play. Joe Firpo can strike out 3 balls in the 10th as we see a replay of that shot again out near the edge of the channel, back, a long way back. This is the lane he has to get 3 in a row for a 194, which is what Danny Wiseman is going at right now.
10 pin is there for him.
And you can see the look. This is his fiancée, I believe.
Yes, Stephanie, right.
Stephanie, right. You can see the look on her face, very disappointed. Even with the mark here in the 10th frame and the full count, a score of 174 will not be enough, regardless of what Danny Wiseman does in the 10th frame. All he has to do is keep it on the lane to be a winner. It's going to get a little tougher, I think, in that last match. Jay against John Mazza.
John Mazza's been waiting in the wings, of course. He was the leader this week here, and a very brilliant performance. Had a 300 game, and you'll be seeing him in the championship. Go against young Danny Wiseman, who has come all the way from the number 5 position. Wiseman needs 5 pins on this first ball to wrap it up.
As you see, again, he's moved to the center of the lane. Stay away from the pit on the edge there. Just keep it in play. And again, he gets the strike. And why doesn't he play there, Jay? Tell me that.
He might be thinking about it, Earl, the way it's been going. Earl, I do want to mention that all of us in the bowling world are mourning the loss of Floridian's Mike Miller and aspiring PBA member Tony Hansen, who lost in an auto crash recently. And we will miss them very, very much. Almost had the 7-10 split, but the 7 pin is there only for him. And although his average drops way down here in this third game with these changing conditions on the lanes here at Tropicana, Danny Wiseman is going to get a shot at the $27,000 top prize against John Mazza. And there he's just throwing a ball to try to get it in line for what he wants to do. 193 for Wiseman. Firpo, 173. Wiseman in the championship against Mazza when we come back.
Sumo, flat out, more power than you've ever seen in a bowling center.
Ooh, honey, don't come near me, please.
Oh, I can't. No, it's not a good idea. Oh, no, baby, not right now.
Oh, please. You don't want to get too close.
Fight morning breath with Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Kiss me.
What are you waiting for?
Great kiss.
You may kiss me now.
Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning.
If an automobile is a reflection of who you are, then the beautiful new Toyota Camry will say a lot for you. The all-new 1992 Toyota Camry. We just couldn't leave well enough alone.
Danny Wiseman.
And all of the players have chosen, they had the option to start on the right-hand lane so they could finish on 43. They still feel 43 is the easier lane to strike on. First shot of the championship from John Mazza, and you'll watch he'll be playing in an extreme inside angle somewhere around the 4th arrow.
Mazza, a gentleman who struggled for many years on the PBA Tour, having an outstanding season.
Here's a good look at the style. Watch the leverage. He gets the ball inside, uses his knees very well. Low at the foul line, good extension. He's one of the better players on the left side of the line. No question about that. A lot of experience. And as you mentioned, he hasn't had a lot of success until this year. He's won
Clemens, Michigan.
He's won 3 times, Jay, and has created a lot of confidence. And with that confidence, he's done so much better than he had in the past.
Credits the work of a sports psychologist with getting his head straight, giving him some confidence. Oh, he's got a batch of wood to handle down there. That's the 3.569. If John would win this match and take down the $27,000 first prize, it would vault him into number 2 in the money list behind David Ozio.
And he'd be the only player with 4 wins this year. And I feel, in my opinion, a leg up on the Bowler of the Year race, which is still up for grabs with Pete Weber coming back into action in our next tournament. Norm Duke having a great year. David Ozio, the current money leader on the tour. Those 4 players, there's no question, all have a shot at Bowler of the Year. And there are a few more that could do it with some great performances in our last 3 tournaments of the year.
Danny Wiseman today averaging 214.60, 209.67 on the TV pair. And again, a little high. A 3-9 lead.
When Danny switched balls somewhere around the 6th frame of his match against Joe Firpo, he suddenly got a much better ball reaction. And now he seems to have again lost the ball speed that he picked up when he switched balls. He threw it harder, got more projection, got a better ball reaction, more consistent reaction. That one again, he seemed to let up on. Tough spare, cross lane. He wants to get the ball to hook into the pins. The ball should hit both pins to cover it properly. Just like that.
Just barely.
The benefits of the urethane surface on a bowling ball. A rubber ball or plastic ball, that ball would have deflected and not covered the 9-pin. So with the big rotation, watch the ball deflect off the front pin and then hit the back one. And that's all you need to do.
I better bring you up to date again. His TV record now is 11-1.
Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
He's really fighting it right now, though. Trying to adjust to these lane changes. A light hit leaving the 210.
He seems to start so slowly in each match and then get it going. Along about the 4th frame, he tends to string 3 or 4 or 5 in a row, and we'll see if he can do it again. This is a very difficult spare. He wants to hit the 2-pin on the left side, drive the pin across the lane into the 10. Margin for error is very small.
So Danny is open in the 3rd. And John Mazza with an early 9-pin advantage. The 10 won't go down for John. The money leaders, Ozio on top, then Monticelli, Pete Weber, Norm Duke. Mazza, as I mentioned, can vault all the way to the number 2 spot if he takes down the $27,000 first prize here this afternoon. Our thanks to Butch Soper working with us, handling our stats and scoring. Always good to work with Butch. You make any money here this week?
No, he says. Well, he's done a little better than that in the past. He's a 4-time champion, so Butch knows what it's all about. If you listen very closely when John Mazza rolls the ball down the lane, you can hear it. And it's not because there are gravel or rocks on the lane. It's what it's doing is he's catching the edge of the thumb hole. He's trying to roll the ball so forward and get such a heavy roll on it that he's catching the edge of the thumb hole as it goes down the lane. And that's that little thump, 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 thump you hear. He's going to get another ball for the spare.
On the TV pair this week, he averaged 234 here at Tropicana. Started bowling at age 10. And here is Danny Wiseman, only 24.
very young field. Mark Williams being the oldest player of the 5 at 33. See if he starts like he did before, Jay. Well, he made the good shot.
He certainly did.
Break. That was the shot he has to make. He got the good extension, got the ball well out in front. He's getting the ball out on the lane 4 or 5 feet before it touches the surface. That's what keeps it in play.
Danny was 5th seeded at Seattle. Came all the way, defeating Curtis Odom, Del Ballard, Eric Forkel to reach the title match against Dave Ferraro. And he struck and spared and then tripled to take a 27-pin lead after 5 frames, and he never looked back in that match. A strike on 43. He's not real pleased with where that ball came to meet the wood, but he got it. It was a crossover strike.
Well, he's a little confused, and I think the lane conditions are changing. Obviously, they will, as we mentioned earlier. The television lights, the fact that they're playing a lot of balls down the lane that'll move the oil around. Here's another look at that shot. But Danny actually pulled this ball, and so he made a physical error more so than having the lane create that crossover. That was Danny.
On from way out, Mazza brings it back for the strike. Mazza with a 7-pin advantage. Leslie Mazza, Johnny's wife, looking on. John and Leslie were married in August. And another strike over on 43 in the double in frames 5 and 6.
And a crossover, so I guess what's fair for Danny is fair for John. Now let's see if Danny can get it going and take advantage of his crossover. He needs it now because it's getting late in the match, 6th frame. Good shot. And as he has done in all his previous matches, he gets going in the middle of the match, gets ahead of his opponents, and they can't quite catch up in the 10th. We'll see if Mazza gets in that same situation. There's another look at that shot. Watch how he gets the ball well out on the lane. Real good lift and heavy roll on the ball, and that's what creates that kind of connection.
Wiseman getting a re-rack over on lane 43.
Chance to take the lead for the first time in the match right here.
Big break on the crossover again.
And he made an adjustment on that shot. He threw the ball harder. He got it well out on the lane, but it still hooked early. He's not trusting the ball. He's not giving it any room to the right to hook back. He's playing such an extreme angle. There isn't much room to give it, as opposed to where John Mazza is playing near the 4th arrow, even deeper than that, farther in some cases.
The left-hander lets it go. And he's got a 6-pin.
When Mazza gets in trouble on television, which he hasn't very often lately, but when he has gotten in trouble, it's because his feet get fast. He tends to rush the foul line. He's a very nervous type player, as you can see by the expression on his face, and he has very fast feet.
He placed 2nd at Tucson in July, top seeded. He lost to Norm Duke, 215 to 173. Made 3 consecutive telecasts to open the spring tour.
Here's a look at the footwork of John Mazza. See how he's sideways at the foul line there? And again, he'll be that way on his strike ball, on his fair balls. And that's generally because your feet are fast. You get there ahead of the ball and you pull the ball through to catch up. It turns your body sideways. He does it every shot, so he does it the same way every time, but still. The tendency is to pull the ball across your body when you get in that position at the foul line. And when you pull the ball across your body, that's where it goes, through the middle of the head pin. And it looks like we're having a deja vu here. It's going back to the first 3 matches of the day where Danny Wiseman has put the pressure on in the middle of the match, and the other players tend to not be able to stay with him or catch up at the end.
Mazza looking down lane 43.
Tough spare.
2-4. Got it.
Covered it well. And here's a chance for Danny to get up here on 3 in a row in the 8th frame and really put this match almost out of reach. If he can string the next 2 strikes, he can put a lot of pressure on Mazza for the championship. This is the most important ball of the day. Careful. Look out. Almost did it again, Jay.
He's talking to himself, Earl.
Well, you think he's talking to himself. I'll guarantee you right now, John Mazza is thinking, not another one. For a professional to miss the pocket that far, and that's a long ways. When the ball crosses the head pin, he has to be totally confused. It's not a matter of execution. He just doesn't have any idea how the ball's going to react on the lane.
Watch this. He really is talking to himself.
He's confused. Still anybody's match. Only 5 pins separating these 2 players with 2 frames to play for the championship, Jay. It's going to get exciting. Who's going to bowl the best? The last 2 frames is what it comes down to.
Wiseman has come from the number 5 position. Mazza has lost from the top, even though he's had a fine year.
And this match, very important to both players, but obviously there are other things on John Mazza's mind, like Bowler of the Year.
Wiseman throws his hands up over his head for that one.
Sure, it's just he's saying, I finally hit the pocket. How about that? The pressure on John Mazza. He's 5 pins behind, needs at least a double minimum to have a chance to win from the looks of things right now. A solid 7 on a great shot. Well played. Has to make the spare. Remember, every ball thrown by John Mazza at this point is crucial. He can't make any mistakes. All right, maximum score for John Mazza, 210 with 3 strikes in the 10th. Danny Wiseman going at a 206 pace with a strike in the 9th, possible 226. Anybody's game yet, anybody's championship. $27,000, first place. And it gets the tip. It gets the tap this time.
He needed that one.
Desperately. This is the next one. Now, this one he has to have to make Danny Wiseman get the first strike in the 10th. If he doesn't strike here, Danny Wiseman again would be in that position of only needing a mark to win the match and the championship. Sent that one wide, Jay. Gave it plenty of room, and here's coming across.
The 7's not going to go.
Danny Wiseman having the pins respotted on lane 44. Take a look, didn't like the rack. And remember, in his last match, he was in this situation, needed only a mark, and the ball crossed over the head pin. He struggled on this lane. He must mark any kind of a mark to win the championship.
A mark plus 5 pins will give him the title, his 4th of his career.
A strike here, it's all over, Jay.
And the win for Wiseman would put him in the top 10 on the money list. And it would make him 12-1 on TV.
Just a little movement off to his right, and he did the right thing. He stepped off the approach. He'll start, reset again.
Might have been bothered by the movement of one of our cameras down that side. Very poised young man for 24. His wife looking on.
With her eyes closed. And here we go for all of it right here. All right, he needs the spare. Cross lane, he's a great spare shooter. He'll switch balls, go to the smooth surface shell, throw it hard, make this spare, and get 5 pins to be the champion.
Both Danny and his wife Lisa taking in some deep, deep breaths here.
Hard and straight, just like that. All right, he'll move to the center of the lane, throw it down like he's done every time in the past, Jay, and struck every time.
Yeah, he has struck every time. Danny Wiseman, starting in the number 5 spot, was lucky to get there when Marshall Holman had a problem in the position round last night. He got there actually by only 1 pin.
There it is for the championship.
And Danny Wiseman is the winner. 204 to 200 over John Mazza. $27,000 first prize. Lisa and Danny are celebrating. We'll be back with some final thoughts right after this.
You could hit the ride on a car. You could body surf a landslide. You could hang glide from an eagle. You could book a flight on a lightning bolt. Or you could drive the 1992 Toyota 4x4 and get it all.
Lock on target.
The Brunswick Phantom. Bowling's first ball with a built-in guidance system. Programmable to your game. Phantom's stealth core system works like onboard intelligence to give you unbelievable consistency and reaction predictability every time you strike. Get a Phantom. It's the guidance system for your game.
Shine the lights on you, shine the lights on me. Keep your good light shining for everyone to see. Shine the lights on this, shine the lights on that. Oh, shining all the others is with Bud Light.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. Everything else is just the light. Keep your Bud.
The Broncos. The Oilers. Stand by mission control. Sunday.
And welcome back to our Prudential Update studio in New York. A quick check of some of today's college football. First of all, at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Miami defeating Oklahoma State big. The final was 40-3. Canes jumping out early. That's backup fullback Martin Patton. He gets the handle, goes in from 4 yards out. Second touchdown of the half. Miami goes on to win 40-3. Canes now 4-0 as they tune up for Penn State next week in Miami. Meanwhile, an ACC matchup in Raleigh, number 21 Georgia Tech against number 19 NC State. And the big play in that game coming late. This is NC State quarterback Jeff Bender rolling left. He goes in from 2 yards out. The 2-point conversion was good. NC State defeats Georgia Tech. The final in that game was 28-21. And at Pitt Stadium, number 17, Pitt taking on Maryland. The Panthers 4-0 for the first time since 1982. Pitt's Alex Van Pelt with a pair of touchdown passes. That game at the half tied at 14. And just a reminder, you will see the rejuvenated Panthers next week on NBC as Pitt visits Notre Dame. Our coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with Notre Dame Saturday. And we will be back with more scores from around college football right after this message from Prudential.
When I first saw Sarah on the library steps, I swear it skipped a beat. When Don Larson was one pitch away from a perfect game in the World Series, it stood perfectly still. On that off awful day in '63. It felt like it was in the pit of my stomach. And that incredible moment when we all took one giant leap for mankind, it nearly burst with pride. But last year, when the doctors told me my heart was failing, and without a transplant I wouldn't last 6 months, that's when it stuck in my throat.
A year ago, the Prudential created the Living Needs Benefit. Now, the terminally ill could collect their death benefit while they were alive, and they could use it for anything their heart desired.
Now that I'm alive and well, I think of the donor. I think of his family, and naturally, my heart goes out to them.
For information, call 1-800-654-ROCK.
All right, welcome back to our studio in New York. Game going on right now. Number 16, Auburn, playing host to Southern Miss. And if you remember last year, Southern Miss upset Auburn. They're trying to do it again. Auburn's Stan White, 5-yard touchdown pass to Fred Baxter. They went for the two-point conversion late in the game. It was no good. And so right now, Auburn trailing Southern Miss 10-9. And number 5, Oklahoma against Iowa State. Oklahoma leading Big Bear in the second quarter, 20-3. Now let's return to the Toyota Classic.
NBC Sports coverage of the PBA Fall Tour has been brought to you by Toyota and their quality line of 1992 cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Brunswick, bowling is sold on Brunswick. And by Bud Light, everything else is
Danny
just alike.
Wiseman is the man winning the Toyota Classic. Arvid Hansen of Toyota, Tino DeFranco presenting the trophy and the check to the champion. This has been a presentation of Bud Sports and the PBA Incorporated in association with NBC Sports. For Earl Anthony, this is